How is it that somebody can go an entire year of time, watching all types of narratives, lies, just despicable stuff being said about their name, right? And not feel the need to ever defend themselves, and not feel the need to get on social media and say anything, not feel the need to really even address some of these things in songs. How is it that somebody can be at this level in the game and be that comfortable in understanding that these narratives are going to be spun and whatever? How can somebody have that much strength and solitude within themselves? Now, us at this level in life that we live a completely different life than these celebrities. You see what I'm saying? But for a guy like Kendrick Lamar, if we look at the past, the people who have been in his position before, it's extremely easy to crumble under these circumstances because of expectations from even your own fans. You see what I'm saying? The haters, the people who don't want to see you succeed, and the people who do not understand you. You know what I'm saying? Which is pretty much most people. Through all that, how can you be so confident, so sure of yourself, that you don't even feel the need to explain things? Like somebody saying you put hands on a woman. How is it that you don't even feel the need to explain anything about that? Right? I'm sure that's a question that at least has come up in your mind at some point, being a fan of Kendrick Lamar. I'm pretty sure I understand why, though. And it comes back to what I think is separating Kendrick in these battles and in his preparation. But we're going to talk about that all throughout the video. You see what I'm saying? I think I understand why Kendrick Lamar is able to do this. Let's bring it up. Exodus 14:14 in the Bible says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Now, I probably shook some of y'all up by bringing up a Bible verse. Let's make something clear. Whether you believe in the Bible or not, whatever, it would be crazy to argue that there isn't valuable things within this Bible. So even if it isn't your time, or even if you never come to the time of wanting to give your life to God or whatever, it would be crazy for you to say that there's not very valuable things in this book and in these teachings. Okay? The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. All I need y'all to have is an open mind for this video. Okay? The Lord will fight for you. This phrase emphasizes God's active role in the deliverance of his people. In the context of Exodus 14, the Israelites are trapped between the Red Sea and the pursuing Egyptian army. This statement reassures them that God himself will intervene on their behalf. Historically, this reflects the common ancient Near Eastern belief in divine warriors who fight for their people. Biblically, this theme is echoed in other passages such as Deuteronomy and Chronicles, where God promises to fight for Israel. Now, when we talk about and we really sit down and listen to the music that Kendrick Lamar is delivering, you hear this message all throughout the music, to be honest. You see what I'm saying? Even when we're talking about bars like the Black Noah, I just strangled me a goat. Like, if we really break that down and break down how God trusted Noah to be able to foresee the new future, that's exactly what Kendrick is referring to, in my opinion, by God trusting him to foresee the new future of this shift that we're recognizing, right? So we're aware that Kendrick Lamar uses biblical narratives in his music and to mirror and parallel his own personal life or his place within the hip hop culture at that point. And what this verse really represents is the fact that if you truly believe and you are a man of God and a man of the Lord, and you stand by that and you give and allow yourself to be a vessel, when need be, he will fight for you. And when you really think about it, why would I be concerned with the opinions of many? For what? The opinions of many change depending on the time and depending on what the public opinion is and depending what you can and can't say at this time. Like, it always changes. So to even put that amount of trust in the opinions of others would be foolish. Now, it's hard not to, right? But that's what this verse is essentially saying. I will fight for you when the time calls for it. trust and be still and relax. And when you really think about everything that's happened in this last year, it would be so easy to bite on these things, to jump and have to say something or have to move. But as Kendrick demonstrates in Reincarnated, his full-blown trust in God would allow him to allow God to handle everything else. You be a warrior of my message. You be a warrior of my intention. With your music, just like he said, I promise that I'll use my gifts to bring understanding with every man, woman. Like, it get deep, bro. And when we look at it from that perspective, it's easy to understand why Kendrick Lamar is able to do what he's doing. Because he's not doing it on his own. He has full trust in what he believes in. If you believe in something else, cool. But he has full trust in what he believes in, and he's fully surrendered. And you can tell in his music, you can tell in having the courage to do what he did in the first place. Because let's be real, they twisted the narrative. And I remember when that battle first happened, people didn't really think that Kendrick had an opportunity to win that battle because they knew how these things go, where you're going against the machine. They knew how these things go. And Kendrick surprising everybody and winning the battle is why the celebration went for so long and why they're trying to rewrite history so that you don't see Kendrick as somebody that defied the odds in this scenario. But when you got the sword of God and you fully believe in that, right? Think about it. The first part of that Euphoria song where he's breaking down the fact that the things that you're putting out into the world are having a hindrance on mankind. And that's how he perceived it. And because of that, I'm here, essentially, to use the sword of God. That's really what bro be talking about. And to do everything he did and had these people creating all types of crazy narratives, people talking about they're going to do stuff, to all types of crazy stuff, to stay in silence and allow this to happen is proof of his complete trust in God, his complete trust in his faith. You see what I'm saying? And we're not done. Let's go to Chronicles 2017. And I also want to get to talking about Kendrick Lamar and his running and his idea of presence. You feel me? Because all of that is important for this video. Chronicles 2017. Ye shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves. Stand ye still and see the salvation of the Lord with you. O Judah and Jerusalem, fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for the Lord will be with you. And you telling me Kendrick didn't carry that energy with him to this battle against all odds? Because we really need to start being honest about this stuff. Y'all know it. I just feel like some of these narratives go unchecked. And the truth is Kendrick Lamar defied all odds. But it makes so much sense when you recognize he was not alone in that battle. And whether you believe in God or not, when you have that level of faith that something is you know what I'm saying, just it's spiritual, and having that level of faith of this is how it's going to be and this is how it's going to happen, that's a strength you can't mimic. You see what I'm saying? That's a strength that, you know what I'm saying, you got to do a lot of work to get to. There's a lot of ways a lot of things you got to do to trust yourself that much, to trust and to believe in something beyond you. And another thing I want to talk about is the fact that Kendrick Lamar puts an emphasis on making sure he runs miles a day. Even we seen clips of him running on tour. You see what I'm saying? Essentially, I can't believe I had that up for that long. But essentially, he's saying that when he goes out and he has these runs and he goes out and he's going for 6 miles. I'm sure if some of y'all run, you know, even running a mile, you know what I'm saying, being present in the moment and running a mile, you start getting downloads when you get in a certain bag, whether it's emotions, images, messages, you start to get downloads, right? Running for 6 miles every single day is probably, it's gotta be where Kendrick Lamar is putting these connections together and recognizing what's going on and understanding how to navigate. Like, I'm pretty sure this is where he gets it. You see what I'm saying? And when you see somebody operate at the level he operated in that battle, You know it's not somebody just waking up and do. No, he's putting in the work for this. 6 miles a day conditioning my wind. You see what I'm saying? We all know the celebrities love running just as much as anyone else. Just look at who was set to run next month's New York City Marathon. And while many of them have similar reasons to lace up, the average person, what motivates them to finish a run can vary. For one of the biggest rappers in the world, this inspiration comes from a higher source. Ain't no bullshit, ain't no cliche, but I literally talk to God. Like, it's to a point where I'll be starting to think I'm going crazy, but then he has to remind me, no, this is really me. How do you read that and think this other shit I'm saying don't make sense? How? Listen, and I get it, because this is when you get to a certain point of having that faith and breaking down these barriers, right? Of thinking that you have in yourself. I still got many. But as you learn it, you realize it's more of a connection than it is a religion. And through this, your mind start opening. You start getting creative. And through that creativity, you start to see how you can hear and see God's voice. I know some of y'all understand what I'm saying. Most of y'all probably understand what I'm saying. Y'all be over here. So, you feel me? And Kendrick Lamar is blatantly saying here that he is in tune with that voice. He hears it and it makes sense to him. That is a beautiful place to be in life, okay? And it makes sense. These creative ideas and that he gets that are just so, it's because he's in that flow state constantly, it seems. You feel me? Like, he's constantly in this state. And because of that, your mind doesn't even really allow you to be concerned with things like that. To even be concerned with people trying to spin narratives and trying to destroy you, boom, boom. Even throughout the battle, he tried to show love to Drake. He tried to show compassion to Drake by saying, listen, I ain't want to do this to you. You did it to yourself. We could have just rapped and kept it how it was. But God is also a God of war. That's something that people got to understand too. With all the love, with all the compassion, boom, boom, God is a God of war as well. You feel me? And he could go there. And that's within us too. And we can access all of that and access it when it needs to be done. Then we reach that level. There's another thing Kendrick Lamar said too before I go into this next point, where he says not to identify with the actions that he's taking in those times, in an interview he did with SZA. And when you don't identify with emotions or those decisions that you make in those times, it's a lot easier to just pull yourself back to your center or pull yourself back over here or be whatever you need to be to make something happen. You see what I'm saying? And I think this just goes to show how much Kendrick Lamar's practices, his belief, his spirituality and all that is blessing him with all these successes that he's having. You see what I'm saying? His intentions and the compassion for the people. No matter how many mistakes he makes, because God is a forgiving God. If we have compassion, that means God's compassion is so far greater. You see what I'm saying? And when you look at it from that perspective and you really understand God does love me, God does want to forgive me, he's already probably forgiven me. When you look at it from that perspective, you can find that love within yourself. You see what I'm saying? To understand it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. Kendrick Lamar seems to have come to that conclusion and therefore is able to be whatever he needs to be. You know what I'm saying? In order to get the job done, whatever that job may be. Then we go to presence, living in the now, GNX and mindfulness. I also want to give a shout out to these articles. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Ireland Smalley. My fault. Perhaps the most defining characteristic of GNX is its emphasis on presence and proximity. Lamar's previous albums have often been reflected, dissecting past traumas, struggles, and societal ills. Another thing, people don't really know how to identify in music. So when they don't really understand why somebody like me has so much love for Kendrick Lamar. As a person who loves humans, loves human beings, how we respond to things, how we interact. Kendrick Lamar expresses his reality in such a vulnerable way. You gotta learn more from listening to him. about yourself, about him, about people, however. And that's why we love Kendrick Lamar so much. But you won't be able to understand that unless that's something that you know, empathy and compassion. Not saying people don't have empathy and compassion who don't listen to Kendrick. I'm just saying these things allow you to look a little deeper into Kendrick's lyrics than the surface level. There's an extreme importance in his tone and insistence on engaging with the moment rather than lingering in retrospection. This shift in perspective doesn't erase the importance of his past work, but rather offers a recontinuation after years of self-examination has arrived at a place where the most vital artistic expression is rooted in immediacy. The difference, and we're going to do a whole separate video on that. The difference between Kendrick Lamar then and Kendrick Lamar now is I'm pretty sure Kendrick Lamar then was not living in the present. And I know that because I listened to his music. So because he's living in the presence now, he's able to create and boom, allow himself to be in that moment, allow it to be what it'll be, and then come back when more inspiration comes. This shift, this philosophy is woven into the album's production with beats that are lean, direct, and propulsive. The presence of female singers further enhances this thematic through line as their voices add layers of warmth and connectivity, softening the edges of Lamar's urgency without diminishing his conviction. Okay? That's essentially what I think is the difference between Kendrick Lamar and a Drake, where Drake is so attached to the perception. He's so attached to the number ones and boom, boom, boom and all this stuff that his actions are dictated by that. His actions are dictated by that. That is his muse. And it's one of the main reasons Kendrick Lamar was able to defeat him swiftly, because it's harder to predict somebody whose main source is coming from something he has to believe in that he can't see. You see what I'm saying? That gives you an entirely different zone to go into than somebody who was being dragged and driven by something that as man-made as a number one album or a number one single. You see what I'm saying? It's easy to know that if your whole character is based around that, the decisions you're going to make in this battle will be centered around that. No matter what they are, I know that's what you're going for. And Kendrick Lamar's unpredictability, which a lot of has to do with the fact that he's present. When you're present, it's unpredictable. That's why people don't like to be present. So because of this, Kendrick Lamar is not only creating art that really defines these moments, and it defines a lot more honest vulnerability as well, which I think he has before, but without that weight of him trying to make it sound right, I feel like. Based on what he said in his music. But it allows him to create from that perspective instead. And because of this, you see what I'm saying? He's putting himself on a different level where it'd be difficult to even beat a dude like this in a battle. You feel me? And main point being, when you're living in the present, when you have this strong belief in something bigger than you, when you're putting into practice in your body, you're going through the pain, you're going through the breakthrough, you're going through the reconstruction and all that. When you're going to therapy and workshops in order to learn things and all this different stuff, right? You lose the want and need for outside validation, which allows you to move more authentically. That's just really the reality. You get to live more, you move more authentically when you're less concerned with what people believe about you, because it's impossible for people to really know you. You see what I'm saying? And from that perspective, it's difficult to even push Kendrick Lamar's buttons from social media or from whatever. You see what I'm saying? People are making up lies, saying he did stuff to this person and that person, saying he's working under this and doing that, and he's all this different stuff. It's crazy. I remember they was even saying he called, like there was a bunch of restaurants in California that were upset with him because of trying to get him to respond. But he's not moved. He's fully still, fully present, fully rooted. That's difficult to be. That's difficult to get somebody to react to. You see what I'm saying? And for him to be performing in front of all these audiences and all these crowds and doing all the things he's doing and still be able to maintain this, he's reached a certain level in his spiritual journey that is going to be beautiful to watch as we continue to move forward. The things that people are going to learn and feel within their bodies, listening to Kendrick's future music, I think it'll do a lot for the world. And then I think other people will understand that that's fine to do and fine to feel and fine to go to therapy and fine to do all these different things. And the world changes over time. You see what I'm saying? Especially with an artist of his influence today. So, yeah, that's the reason why Kendrick Lamar doesn't really mind or care about all these things that these people are doing because of his belief in God, his faith in God, Exodus 14:14. The pain and reconstruction he goes through on a daily basis, right? And then his presence, how present he is in current time. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. If you made it through the video, Chains and Whips freestyle dropping most likely tomorrow morning. You feel me? I want to say most likely because I'm not fully sure. But Chains and Whips freestyle, it's for sure coming within the next 2 days. You feel me? I want to make sure that last thing I did, it was fire, but it was more reality raps. I feel like with this, I'm going to show y'all how I rap too. You see what I'm saying? So, but I appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to catch y'all.